fuck is up, gamers? It's your boy The Goods, and we are back for episode number 30 of Ace Attorney Resolve. In the last episode, we were in the middle of talking to Enoch Drebber, and we need to resolve a matter.
Mr. Drebber, you will amend your testimony with details of this truth.
Also, if you'll notice, I got my sick-ass hoodie. It's one of those hoodies that's like cut short, like legitimately, like my stomach has nothing to like do with it. It's literally just too short. Like it is just like if I stand up, you know what I mean? Like you can hold on, like you can see my belly poking up out of it, which I guess that's more the hang, but that's just because of the loose skin. You know what I mean? But like it fits, you know. It's just not. It's short. It's shorter than I would like. But like from God, my fucking booty cracks hanging out. But here it looks cool. Here I like this look.
Of course, we must treat the matter scientifically. After all,
I nearly had him there. I'm doing laundry too. I'm trying to like get as much of this shit done as I can, and get my laundry done.
the kinesis clearly took place because there's nowhere else 30 feet high for the birdcage to have fallen from. Oh.
So now I present the experiment sketch. Objection! Objection! You're full of shit! This is a diagram of the experimentation stage and its surroundings. Yes. We know that somehow the birdcage appeared in mid-air before falling down into the crystal tower. A fall of about 30 feet or 9 meters. Yeah, it's closer to 10 meters, but whatever. Is it actually? Hold on. Oh, wow, it's actually... So, hold on. 3 feet is only 0.91 meters. Huh, you learn something new every day. Wow, I was wondering, like, I thought the conversion rate was literally 3 feet to 1 meter. So then 1 meter is 3.28 feet. Significant. However, if you examine the diagram carefully, you'll see that there is one other possible location from which the birdcage could have fallen. The same distance of 30 feet.
No.
Well, it appears the defense has a possible explanation to put forward. Go ahead, counsel.
Yes, my lord. Of course.
You will indicate the place to which you are referring on this same diagram. The alternative location where it could have fallen is...
So I'm supposed to say below the machine. Really?
Take that!
Take that! If it had fallen from here, the birdcage would have plummeted the same 30-foot distance.
Objection. If that my learned friend claim, I suggest he demonstrates for the court personally.
Huh? What? Hold the phone. I did what it fucking said. This is a crock of horse shit. What the fuck? Alright, hold on. Save, like, here, actually. Am I insane? Is it not? Oh. You present here. The place I'm referring to is here.
But that's where the birdcage would have been to begin with.
Which is exactly the point, my lord. Yes, the birdcage was in the machine on the stage. But what we must also consider is the height of the stage itself.
Go on, counsel.
It turns out the experimentation stage was built at a considerable height above ground level. If you look at the diagram, in fact, you'll see it's about the same height above the ground as the balloon was above the crash site. When the experiment got underway, the machine and the birdcage were engulfed in steam. At that moment, the floor of the stage gave way, and if we assume there to be a void underneath, this birdcage and the one seen by the audience would have fallen almost exactly the same distance. Once again, my lord, this all points to the fact that there was not one birdcage, but two.
Objection! My learned friend, you something.
Hold on, that's irrelevant. Hold on.
Has no evidence the stage had such a contrivance in its design.
Someone's responsible for the criminal destruction of the kinesis machine itself, it's true. However, the stage still stands. And take a moment to look at the photographic print of the scene following yesterday's explosion.
Good lord! The metal grill that formed the floor under the machine is undone!
Yes, most likely blown open by the force of the explosion that destroyed the rest of the machine. The defense calls for the space below the stage to be investigated immediately. Oh shit. Mr. Drebber! It was you who built the kinesis machine, which means that it was you who built the two bird cages that were used to carry out this deception. Whether Professor Hairbrand's hypothesis is sound or not makes no difference, because it's the construction of this machine that matters. A machine designed to take Mr. Osmond's life. And lay the blame firmly at the professor's door, something that could only have been carried out by you, Mr. Enoch Drebber!
Objection!
God, that's such a cool trick. I want to do that one day.
If my learned friend has reached the end of his wild assertions, the prosecution would like to crush the defense's argument slowly but surely.
Oh,
Your argument fails to hold water on 2 counts.
2?
Firstly, before and after the experiment, this witness went nowhere near the kinesis machine. Every relevant member of staff from the exhibition has attested to that.
And I believe members of Scotland Yard have also been on watch duty at every public experiment.
In other words, Mr. Drebber had no opportunity to switch the alleged pair of bird cages.
Objection. But I've already explained why you wouldn't have needed to.
The nonsense with the crossbow, that doesn't bolster your case at all. The man who disappeared from the stage and the man who crashed into the tower are one and the same. The forensic investigation team's report is unequivocal on that point. And the second flaw in your assertion is a distinct lack of motive. Why would this man have wanted to take the victim's life? He had no reason to do so.
A motive? Do I have to think of everything myself?
I have here a contract provided by the witness.
What contract is this, Lord Van Zeeks?
The contract into which Mr. Drebber entered with the victim, Mr. Osmond. It reads, Mr. Drebber is to receive 30% of all remunerations from government grants or other income.
30%? Certainly very favorable contractual conditions.
So yeah, we're doing fine. But there was one important provision bolted onto that clause. What provision?
Mr. Drebber may only uphold this right on condition that both contracting parties are alive.
In other words, if either of us were to die, the contract would become null and void. So you see, I had nothing to gain from Mr. Osmond's death. The diametric opposite, in fact.
Need I say more? The witness had neither an opportunity nor a reason to commit the alleged crime. In short, the possibility of Mr. Drebber having done as you suggest is nil.
Yo, look at him fucking shaking it up there.
It seems the defense's assertion was somewhat wide of the mark. Lord Van Zeeks, you will submit the contract as evidence, please.
Okay. It's true. If Drebber had no opportunity to switch the birdcage under the stage with the one in the Crystal Tower, he couldn't have done it. And in any case, I have no idea what his motive might have been.
There is one aspect of your argument That still holds true, however. There were 2 bird cages. The prosecution is unable to deny that.
Ah.
So I'm sure you're on the right lines, Mr. Naruhodo. And I've no doubt there are other aspects of your assertion that are undeniable truth, too.
Well, it would seem that the defense has no rejoinder to offer.
Gah. Well, I must say, I'm a little surprised. I came here to testify about the machine I built, and instead my reputation is defiled. But the prosecution's counter has set the record straight, I think. It's impossible that I'm the culprit.
Objection! At the beginning of this trial, we believed there was only 1 birdcage, yet now we know there must have been 2. In other words, there was more to the demonstration than we realized at first. I think it's abundantly clear that the same applies to the culprit.
Get to the point.
The stage demonstration was constructed and set up entirely by you, Mr. Drebber. Therefore, it's inconceivable you had no hand in the events that transpired. So if circumstances mean it's impossible you could have carried out the crime yourself, it points to the fact that someone else was involved.
Someone else? Counsel, are you suggesting...
Yes, my lord, Mr. Drebber had an accomplice!
Objection!
The answer to who it is insane, by the way. Like, I knew, but, like, I didn't know, you know?
An accomplice now? Well then, I presume you're prepared for what's to come, motherfucker. Now that you're accusing not only this witness, but someone else of the most serious of crimes. If these accusations turn out to be false, then make no mistake. The prosecution will demand an equally serious punishment for your slander.
Well, counsel, do you intend to pursue this course and formally accuse another party of involvement in this matter?
What do I do here? At the moment, this is a little more than a hunch on my part. I don't know for sure if Drebber had an accomplice, or if he really even is the culprit here. Nobody puts time bombs near anybody if they're not up to no good. One way or another. Oh, Jesus. One way or another, though, I have to make my position clear as a lawyer. So what's my stance going to be? I'm going to name the accomplice. The defense is ready to name Mr. Drebber's accomplice. Somehow the 2 bird cages must have been switched. Everything points to that. Yet according to the coroner's report, that's not a possibility. I want you to know, this is insane, by the way. So he goes, that inconsistency itself is a clue.
Counsel,
My lord?
you have received a stark warning already. If you are nevertheless determined, then I must now ask you to identify this alleged accomplice by name.
Like, if he's right, which obviously he has to be, this is an insane fucking leap. Because the logic here is that if he couldn't have switched... It's the, like, remove the impossible, and then you find the truth. If he couldn't have switched them, then one, right? Then the... Jesus Christ, stop fucking sending me shit. If he couldn't have switched them, they have to have been the same. If he was seen moving around on the floor, that means he is still where he needs to be. You know? Hold on, motherfucker. Okay, so the idea is that it would be the second person, right? So if it's not the one that fell, then it would be the other one. The one that was, you know, fell out of the balloon. You know what I mean? Like that would have to be, like, something has to be with that. The problem is if he didn't switch it, that means that either A, there was a second person somehow that died under, because they would have died, like when they fell, they would have died. So somebody else died, or something died, or the thing that the coroners found at the Crystal Tower was never alive at all. What we're getting at is that the wax sculpture that he stole, that quote-unquote doesn't have a face, was the fucking thing, which only makes sense if the coroner is in on it, is what they're getting at. They're saying this only makes sense if Courtney Scythe is involved, because if she would have investigated the body and saw it was a wax statue, she would have immediately called it out and be like, this is a fake, we need to find the real body. Somewhere in the story, it's not adding up.
What's wrong, my Nipponese friend?
So that's the logic leap, is like, if it's not this, then it has to be that, like, she's involved.
Surely fear doesn't bind your tongue now. It's a little late for that.
Of course I'm afraid. After all, naming her in this capacity is definitely going to make waves. A lot of waves. I could very well turn every single person in this courtroom against me.
I'm sure it will be alright, Mr. Naruhodo.
Thank you, Miss Susato.
The enemy always appears larger than life, but you'll appear exactly the same to the enemy.
Alright then, here goes.
You've kept us waiting long enough. Your answer, Counsel, now.
The person who colluded with Mr. Draper in order to carry out this wicked crime is Scotland Yard's coroner, Dr. Courtney Scythe!
What the blazes are you talking about? Dr. Scythe?
The head of the forensic investigation team, and the coroner who conducted the autopsy on the victim!
We know there were 2 bird cages, so who could have carried out the switch to complete the illusion? The accident happened in front of a crowd and spectators, and the area was immediately sealed off. Then everyone, police officers included, were banished to make way for the forensic investigation team. When else could the switch have occurred? It could only have happened in that team's presence! It's essential the court determines exactly what happened following the incident. The defense demands that Dr. Scythe be summoned to the witness stand at once to testify! I mean, we are making some fucking points. I didn't mean to.
I had a woman very well. But it didn't work out there. How dare you call her a criminal?
My learned friend's imagination appears to be wilder than the East End at night. But the recklessness of your accusation aside, there's another grave problem with your argument. One which the prosecution demands you address at once.
The grave problem?
Oh my word! Who do you claim acted as the victim's doppelganger?
What?
Certainly, if the birdcage containing the body of the victim was exchanged for another, that cage must have also contained a body.
And yet, no missing persons or accidental deaths of anyone remotely resembling the victim have been reported. Which means there was no one, dead or alive, who could have fulfilled the role of a body double for Mr. Asman.
That's true. My argument's that there were 2 bird cages. There must also have been 1 person inside each. But I don't know if I've got an answer to this yet, have I? We're gonna present evidence. Because we can't name someone. We don't have anybody that's dead. Very well. The defense will address my learned friend's concerns by presenting evidence that reveals the true nature of Mr. Osmond's body double.
Good gracious! Evidence? I do hope this isn't filibustering, Counsel. The court is expecting a name.
If you think you have relevant evidence, present it now!
The body double and the birdcage were hiding inside the balloon that was floating above the stage, which means that any witnesses would have only seen them from 60 feet away. So who was it that appeared out of that explosion some 18 meters above the spectators? Aha! The body double inside the second birdcage was...
Take that!
We know that the victim, Mr. Osmond, was in the birdcage that was situated inside the kinesis machine on stage, and therefore he couldn't have been inside the second birdcage. Instead, that contained something else. What's been described as a body double, which is what fell from the sky and crashed into the Crystal Tower.
Yes, Counsel, according to your somewhat elaborate version of events.
And that body double inside the second birdcage was, in fact...
It's alright, Mr. Naruhodo. You ready for this? Just steel yourself and come out with it!
Thank you, Miss Susato. I needed that. As I was saying, the body double inside the second birdcage was, as unbelievable as it may seem, that thing there!
Objection!
Bullshit! Open your eyes and look into mine, my Nepalese friend. Now tell me, what are you playing at?
Stand firm now, Ryunosuke. This is the time to show your Japanese spirit. As the court will observe, this is a waxwork model. A model, in fact, of an infamous London murderer from 10 years ago, the Professor!
Objection!
You started by indicting by indicting the leader of the forensic investigation team as an accomplice in this crime, and now you've moved on to indicting Waxworks.
Yes, that's about the size of it.
But why? And why this waxwork? It looks nothing like the victim. In fact, it can hardly resemble him less. What possible justification can you give?
If you want to know why, ask Mr. Drebber.
What?
Just days before Professor Harebrain performed his public demonstration, Mr. Drebber abducted this model from Madame Tuspel's.
Did you say abducted?
And 2 days after the incident at the Great Exhibition, he returned it to the museum.
And the timing.
Is this true, Mr. Drebber?
At first, I couldn't see why Mr. Drebber would have stolen the waxwork and then given it back again. But now the reason is clear. He took it so he could put it inside the second birdcage as a body double for Mr. Osmond.
Objection!
Are you hearing this, ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Are you hearing the defense's astonishing proposal? That the witness fabricated this vast machine with the intention of deceiving some wretched scientist. That he did so in collusion with the country's finest coroner on a public stage in front of a vast audience. And that, to effect the deception, he used a waxwork model that in no way resembles the victim. Are we really to believe this far-fetched tale? What do you decide?
Objection!
Objection! Wait! Yes, if you put it like that, of course it sounds implausible!
My lord, I need to speak, if you please. Go ahead, Mr. Foreman.
Myself and my colleagues have reached an agreement.
Oh, shit.
Very good. In that case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will state your leanings for the court to hear now.
Guilty! Guilty!
Shit.
Guilty! Guilty!
He's Italian?
Kill me!
I was right on the last voice.
Guilty!
Jesus Christ.
So, as indicated by the foreman, the jury has reached a consensus.
I knew that was going to happen.
We shall get through this, Mr. Naruhodo, as we always do. And uncover some new truths along the way, I'm quite sure.
Yes, I agree. I'm going to have to appeal to the jurors as usual, and see if I can persuade them to change their minds.
The defense will now embark on a summation examination.
Yeah, he already knows. He already knows.
Are you and your fellows ready to proceed, Mr. Foreman?
We are, my lord.
Very well. In that case, I ask you now to state clearly for all present to hear the grounds on which each of you has decided the defendant is guilty of the crime of which he is charged.
Oh, my nose is bothering me. Judicial findings.
I've let one of these! She never been accomplished or anything! It's utter nonsense to think those two would be conniving with one another.
Indeed, this is most troubling, but surely the waxwork of the men's stool... Surely the waxwork of the men's stool has nothing to do with the coroner, is it? He's like, I have my own problems with the members of the police. I do not trust them much.
I've seen it.
I don't like it. I've seen no rigorous proof that this waxwork was ever inside the birdcage. It's conjecture.
Oh, my nose is bothering me, bro. So, what? What? I want you to know the details that I'm getting. Hold on. Does that fucking does that matter at all? Doesn't matter at all. I'm reading ahead a little bit. None of that shit fucking matters.
Somewhat unsurprisingly, it seems the introduction of this waxwork model to the proceedings has polarized opinion.
Given that its face is obscured and its build in no way resembles that of the victim, I can only applaud my learned friend's temerity at suggesting it as Mr. Osmond's body double.
Yes, the applause is deafening, and yes, I know it seems extraordinary. But that's the point. That's why I have a strong feeling it's actually a greater clue than anyone yet realizes. Yeah, the idea is that that being the actual body double that he definitely used, it has to be Courtney Scythe, because she immediately, being the only one to really have fucking looked at it, would have been like, this is a wax model of someone that's completely different. She has to be involved.
What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo?
I can't explain why at the moment, but I feel as though there's a specific reason why it was used. Why it had to be this model. Now that I don't know.
Really? A reason why nothing else would do, you mean?
Yes, and I'm convinced. Something far more significant than whether or not the model looked like the victim.
Well, if that's the case, we must prevent this trial from ending prematurely at all costs.
Oh, I'm picking up what's happening here. Okay. Okay. Oh. Very interesting. Okay. I'm like reading ahead a little bit. Because we're not going to be able to do this in the episode.
If you're ready, counsel, you may proceed with the summation examination.
Yeah, I'm gonna save here just because we're getting to the end of where the episode would be. You know what I mean? I don't want to start this in that episode. So for now, thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye bye.